Welcome to Speaking of the Voice podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Dell'Aria, voice actor, DJ, and hypnotherapist. I'm fascinated with the voice, where it comes from, how we heal it, and how we can use it to better express and connect with ourselves and others. This podcast is a collection of conversations exploring the voice, different tools to heal it, what happens when we connect to our most authentic voice, and how we can courageously create profound impact individually and collectively by speaking up from a heart-centered place. Thanks for joining me here. I hope it helps you heal and empowers you to use your voice in a more authentic way. When we had our session together, and I've never actually started a session by creating that safety orb, a safety bubble around us. And I really liked it. I felt the difference, right? When we first dropped in, there was like that tech glitch, which isn't the first time that that's happened. And I explained to you that sometimes when the thing that we're about to release is so intense or the memory is really traumatic, I notice that the tech has issues. And just intuitively, when we drop back in, I was like, let me just put extra protection around us.
That's
Did you feel the
incredible.
difference of that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the whole experience was pretty magical also because it was in the yurt.
Epic. Super epic.
In this like pillow palace sort of experience, and the sun was like beaming down upon me.
There's a breeze coming through the door. You looked like a pretty princess in her castle, like with the canopy over the bed and your pink sheets. You were in pink. Everything just felt. You also looked so beautiful, specifically that day too. I mean, you always look good too, but that day, I remember it was like, can we take a photo? What is happening?
It was a whole experience, right? Because I had just hung the curtains in the yurt as well, so you have that kind of like. And a couple of wild things happened during that session, like the electricity. I still
What do you mean?
have been,
in your body?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then like even just the laughter that we shared.
I've had one other client where we laughed that like very hard in one of their memories, but it was, you kind of took the cake on that. You were laughing for a good 60 seconds, 45 to 60 seconds, I would say. But when it was happening, I just understood, first of all, laughter is medicine. And, when you look at like the acting masks of smiling and crying, it is one and the same. We can have happy tears and sad tears, but ultimately that eruption of sound and breath within us is also healing. So I knew that it was maybe like an icebreaker of sorts, more in the way of just helping to crack the tension that was building in the room. And then also the depths that we went right after your laughter and how intense that exploration got. And yeah, fascinating. Tell me more about that electricity.
Oh my gosh, the electricity. So I first started to feel it. There was like walking into the depths of my mind, right? And I'm like starting to feel this, I'm relaxing, I'm easing into it. I'm going, okay, you know what? I'm getting ready for the work. Or just to be in this experience, right? The whatever is going to happen happens. It's kind of like, oh my God, I had the same sort of emotion when I gave birth, actually, because all of a sudden you're like, okay, this literally can't happen any other way. And it's about to go down. Here we are. And then you go through it and you're like, wow, okay, like here, you come out of it. And you're a different person a little bit.
A lot of it.
A lot.
Depending on how deep you're willing to go. I mean, I really felt the trust between us. we've been really good friends for quite many years now. So we had all of that
Yeah.
built in, and then just the trust with the process. Was that your first experience with hypnosis, with hypnotherapy?
No. Well, my first experience with hypnotherapy, but the only time I've ever experienced hypnosis before was like with, magician, like some like icky man. You know what I mean?
It was performative.
Right. Or like, I can hypnotize you.
Hmm. Can you compare the two?
Sure, sure. Right, right. So the hypnosis of, Vegas magic.
It was in Vegas.
Oh, one Vegas, people around, like just miscellaneous. I can, I can make your mind do things, whatever. And it just, it's icky. And so I never went back to it. I never really tried to understand it even. And, until, uh, I watched you go through your certification process as well. And I'm like, you know what? That's, one of the reasons why I was open to it is because it's you. And I know how thoughtful you are and also, just, uh, it's like, then you can really trust the work.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's not magic. It's not behind a shield. Your, sleeves are rolled up together.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely not. Like, would you say that the magician kind of hypnosis was more about control and proving or performing versus our work together was more, how would you describe it?
So I think it's very similar to other healing experiences. So, before this, I have done a lot of work with shaman, even like in dream walking and things like that. And those healing experiences have been very fruitful for me. And so that's another reason I think I was very comfortable also kind of stepping into this new experience in this healing manner. And I think that's probably the difference, right? This is where, we come in with a question. What are we working on? What are we diving into? And then there's a pathway forward. You know, you're facilitating it, you're guiding it. Like a shaman as well is kind of like the bird. See, or seeing things and looking down, and you're the person being healed, right? Or doing, the subject is also, is really in the weeds, you know, living it. You're there, right?
Yeah. You felt like you were, what, 6 years old again or 15 again?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Time traveling.
totally.
What are you
Totally.
unlocking? And for me, I think these images like were in my brain, like they were showing themselves to me little by little, but like there was something that I just needed to come in and and work with you,
Mm.
you
Do you
know?
mean that you had been having glimpses of these memories, making coffee or, cleaning the house, but not to really fully sit inside of the detail of it and tap into the emotion and identify why it was coming up for you?
Yeah, they're there as
Yeah.
feelings even. I mean, maybe
Mm.
not even visually, but even a
Wow.
sense,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
What is it?
That's, it's, suppressed trauma or suppressed emotion. And it's just the body, especially when you're in a relax and digest, when you're in a parasympathetic state. So when you're humming around the house, cleaning or in your garden, that's when your body's like, oh, where it's safe to feel these things now. So it starts to come through and, our busy and distracting and faster lives. Not always is it appropriate to dig deep into something that happened to us when we were 6 that caused us quite a bit of pain. Um, and even if we do allow that to come through, are we able to really process what that was that happened and identify a part of us that came in to protect, prioritize, or punish us? It was interesting. Your scenes came up like you weren't really scenes being memories, these moments, these significant moments in your past where a part of you came in to protect, prioritize, or punish, to prevent you from feeling very strong or significant pain that had occurred in that moment. But your scenes didn't necessarily come up in full sentences. It was like detailed images. Like you're in one scene, you said blue dresser and birds outside. There were just these sort of adjectives and nouns. And through all of these bullet points, was there a whole scene there? It was really interesting.
You know what? I can describe it like, oh my God, did you ever play? There was this like game called, it was a computer game that was sort of like an offshoot of Duke Nukem era type of like first player shooter games. And so all you see there was one called Marathon. And so all you see is two hands and like a a gun, and then there's like aliens coming at you, and then you're like, that's how it feels like. And so you're
Wow.
kind of like, that's what I was experiencing, was like this kind of like goggle vision,
Fascinating.
alien.
Did you find that those goggles expanded the more that we explored each scene, or the deeper that you went into hypnosis?
I think it's like, for me, it's the point of view. So I'm also like not a gamer, right? It's a little disorienting for me to be, that's like a lot of it I was younger it's all stuff when I was younger and small. And so it was like this point of view. I don't know, it was a little disorienting. And then, you know what? The experience, I think for me, I was like questioning it. Like I was, am I really seeing what I'm seeing?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, when I pulled you out, when we had the tech glitch and I pulled you out the first time that we went in, um, you had said that you couldn't identify what age that you were, but you had a picture, and I had said, trust the image that's coming up. Like that is the thing. I know for myself, when I've been the client in a hypnotherapy session, it's not always clear. One time I was in a session and the hypnotherapist asked me how old I was. And I was like, I don't know. But I was like, and it was like everything was spinning, which is something that you sometimes feel inside of hypnosis, that spinning factor. It was like kind of the sensation of the time travel. But it was like a time lapse in this particular memory. So I just started with what I did know, which is also something that you did too. You just started with what you could see, blue dresser, and then we worked from there. In my scene, I was in my childhood kitchen. And then because I was in my kitchen, I could see, oh, I'm behind my mom's seat at the kitchen table. Oh, I'm standing behind my mom. And then, oh, that swirling effect is actually me going, this motion of going from her left side to her right side and back and forth. And once I dropped into that sensation of the back and forth, I'm like, oh, I'm not just one age, I'm many ages. And then I'm like, okay, well, what would I have been doing at many ages of that sensation of the back and forth? And then everything clicked. My mother was born half deaf. And whenever I would go and whisper a secret into her ear, she would say, Alicia, I can't hear you. You have to go to the other side. You have to go to my hearing ear. So that sensation was going from her deaf ear to her hearing ear. And then when I realized had to do with her deafness, I'm getting chills just talking about this.
I am too.
It's wild. I never thought about this. I even forgot that my mom is half deaf. And I said to my hypnotherapist, oh my God, I feel so much guilt that I can hear and my mom can't. And I've been holding on to that for most of my life. and then let's release it. It's not my fault. It's not her fault. And it's such a gift. So then the guilt transforms into gratitude, which is a much, much better sensation to hold in the body. But just starting small usually reveals more of what your body is ready to bring forward. Mind you, Teresa, your whole session was themed on safety. Whether your body wanted to reveal that safety in the body, but I just knew that like your word was safety, which I love so much because you have your safety business. It's when go ahead.
No, I mean, that's totally it. Like, actually, I think one of the reasons I came to you was I was like, safety is like a base step in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Let's move away from it.
Mm,
Move
yeah,
beyond just safety. Like, I'm like, and even my safety business, and that was part of it. I'm like, I'm
for
rebranding.
sure. I mean, it's a foundational
Mhm.
pillar, right? So even understanding the chakras, or if you don't understand chakras, but first chakra, root chakra, is to do with safety and security. And whether you understand the chakra system or not, you can understand that you need your base needs covered in order to do anything in life. Food, shelter, water. This is what makes you feel safe as a human, and that level that's similar and mirrored in the root. Um, you started your safety company in COVID, and we'll get into all of that in a little bit because it's just almost poetic. It's really so beautiful how when we have a pee underneath our mattress, like that one thing that makes us uncomfortable in our emotional body, the things and the lengths that we go to resolve that and to try to make sense of it. And I knew when we identified in your intake that this had to do with safety, that it wasn't going to be like, oh, I'm done with my safety business now. Like I fixed it. It would make you want to lean in that much more, and maybe even expand when we feel safe in our lives and in our bodies. Then we can grow and add on and have a savings account and have friends and enjoy life because we're not just surviving. Um, yeah. Any thoughts coming up for
Oh,
you after all that?
right. Like, for a long time, I've been wanting to rename my company. My company um, is called Safety Compliance Services, and I did start it in 2020. And uh, who's who in America? I remember they asked me like, "Oh, like what was the reason that you started your business?" And I was like, "I just didn't want to starve." COVID hit. I was working in television. There was nothing, like no work, and I was, 1099. I had no money coming in. So I was trying to figure out what to do with my situation, my life. What am I going to do? And so I thought I'd go back to law school. I talked to a really good friend of mine who's an attorney, and I thought, well, let me just get like in the meantime, like before I go back to producing, I'll do like um paralegal something. I loved that job. It was so fun. I loved working with people, which is the reason I went into television in the first place. I love people. And live events, why I moved to New York. You know, I grew up in the world. I grew up in the world of rock and roll. My family is in that. And so I grew up backstage, and I always really enjoyed working with my hands. My dad was an artist. My mom was an archaeologist, digging. They built this beautiful home in this garden around me. And it's funny, like he spent this whole life, this whole, like, I don't know, career bouncing, but to me that was normal, right? The being broke and
Mm,
having everything you own fit in 10 boxes and living out of drugs, doing this, doing that, adventuring, you know, going places. And, at some point I was like, I guess I realized I'm like, I'm on the run.
mm,
And the
mm,
life that I was living Was so toxic. The energy, the people around me, I found, just the deeper that I was living in that world. I'm like, why? Why am I uh, running even from my own, you know, the person who I really am underneath all of it?
I have this song coming to head right now, looking for love in all the wrong places, but looking for safety in all the wrong places. I definitely resonate with what you're talking about. Um, so COVID hit, you do go to law school, and you also start safety compliance services, which you won an award for. Tell me
A
about the
few, yeah.
success of this thing.
So I did not
And don't
mean
be
to say
humble. That's the best part. Mind
that
you,
was an
Teresa and I
accident.
we're having tea one day and you're just like, oh yeah, I won this award for having like the best safety compliance, one of the best safety compliance
Yeah.
companies in America. I'm like, don't say that so casually. What?
Yeah, I did a couple of awards. I can't even remember what they were. I got them in 2023, and the reason I don't remember is because it was when my mother passed away. I also won these awards, and so I didn't even look at them. And actually, it's ridiculous because I was asked to speak at UCLA for a class, and you know what's funny? I forget to introduce myself. When I speak into the public, I just get right into it. I'm so excited. And then my friend Brandon, who was the teacher, he's like, Teresa, can you introduce yourself? I'm like, sure. I'm like, what do you want to know? And I totally talked around it. Around introducing myself. I'm like, yeah, I am. And then he's like, is that an award behind you? What is that for? I was like, oh, that's so silly. And I actually had like a moment of just actually because of the session and because of just the work afterwards, because you make this wonderful meditation, which is perfect. It's 30 minutes. Like that's exactly how long like I lounge in the bath or, that's my meditation goal anyway for the day. So it like fits right in to my lifestyle. But I realized I was like, I have I'm not directly communicating because that was also part of why I wanted to come to the session is yes, I'm rebranding. I'm leveling up myself, my business. I'm moving beyond because the safety compliance services, that was made out of a necessity. That was a total accident. It was, COVID hit. And they were like, well, stay home for 2 weeks. And I was like, yes, that sounds awesome. And
2
then
weeks. What a joke.
it was, and then it was like more than that. And I'm calling all my friends, everybody I know in all the places that I know. And I'm like, what's happening? What are you seeing? Cause I'm like, I have $75 in my bank account. And then I'm like, yeah,
Real
okay.
talk.
What am I going to do? Okay, I'll go back to school, be a paralegal. My friend's like, no, just do the whole thing. And so that's when I started my journey. And then I was like, oh my God, how am I going to pay for law
Pay for this.
school? And then I don't know, my business, there was a market gap. People wanted to go back to work in film and television. They didn't know how they were going to do it. And I was like, okay, that's my perfect crossover. Here we are. Let's jump in. And then I started consulting and then I started double booking myself. And then I was like, oh shit, let me train. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I don't know, like pop off. Now we're managing a crew of like 100 people just in our department. So like that was wild. And then the writer's strikes of 2022, that kicked us in the pants because then nobody can produce. And so then I went down a wild rabbit hole because my brother is involved in like government and purchasing. He was like, you should become a certified women-owned business. And then I was like, oh, that's a thing. And he's like, people will buy your services like in the government, you know? And I was like, oh, that's wild. And so then I went down a whole road of like learning how to do uh government public contracting procurement because I became a member of these organizations like WeBank, NMSDC, Better Business Bureau. You can also like join any like chambers of commerce. Like they have these free trainings. I got all of my training for free to learn how to work with Fortune 500 companies.
Wow. That was 22. So then 23 is when you were acknowledged and awarded based on being one of the leading female owned, the leading or the best female owned safety compliance companies in America.
Best Health and Safety CEO. I got Who's Who in America. There was something else. I think I got a few at once. There's
I
something else.
remember that's what you were telling me. And then you dropped out of law school because, yeah, that was a big
Yeah. So
decision.
in
You were really
2020,
back and forth about that.
yeah. So from 2020, and I was going to law school part-time. So I was working 90 hours a week and going to law school. And then in 2023, well, I guess 2022, technically, I got pregnant. And, and then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to do my life differently. And then and then during that whole thing, also, I was pregnant. My mother passed away. I also became a single mom. I had to move because my life wasn't working in Los Angeles with the way that I was doing it. I had to totally pivot the way that I was doing my whole life, my whole business, and so going into this, like, here's this new game that I can play that's across industry. I'm now way more than I was before. Just I feel like I exploded, right? Because now I'm like in other industries. I'm in another location. I'm in another role as a mother. Um, and and I'm doing it like pretty much alone. I have my guest stars, my friends who really supported me through this whole experience. But and then realizing, what, I'm not even happy behind a desk. Even I had to change the way that I was doing law school. My law school closed, the original one that I was going to that I loved. And then I had to go to another one. And so I had to go through a whole transfer process. And I really, and I went to a bigger, more like renowned school after that. But I was like not happy. It just felt like a mill. And that was one of the reasons I moved from Los Angeles to this place here in the mountains. People were telling me, oh, get on the waiting list now for daycare. And I'm like, I don't think that that's the life I want to live. I don't want to live where I'm going to be in anxiety. Only going to see my kid 2 hours a day. I don't want to live in that because you know what? It's detrimental to my personal health. It
And
was,
hers too.
and hers. Like, I experienced cervical precancer. It's a battle. It's not, still experiencing that and going through that. And what level of stress do you really want in your life? Is it worth it?
Mm.
$650 an hour as an attorney is not worth it to me. I don't care. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
No,
Also, I wouldn't be surprised if you make more than that following
I
your own
do.
path, you know. You have a particular talent for making something out of nothing, and not just something, but a lot of something with a lot of zeros behind it. Um, so, I mean, you were already expanding and shifting and rebranding this year before you came to me for a session. And, sometimes you feel like when something's not working, the whole thing is broken. I mean, you just throw it out. But it's just like, oh, we just need a different screw. Or we just need to put some hot glue over here. You were pretty shifted right after your hypnosis session with me. And that was what, 3 weeks ago now? Where are you with it now? And how is that impacting your professional life and also your life as a mom? But we could start with career.
So, you know, the safety part was important because that was like my shelter, my box of of it protected me, it kept me, it fed a lot of people, and like actually I have this memory of I was on a cruise and this gal came up to me completely distressed and she goes, "You look like a safe person." And I was like, wow, just I'm so happy that I built that.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Because again, I said I felt like I was on the run,
Mm.
you know, up, until this moment, until now, is I do feel safe and I feel grounded. I feel rooted.
Mhm. Mm.
I'm unshakable. I'm like steady, and even like part of the reason the safety company, right? The other thing is, I'm also a survivor of violence, of workplace violence. And so no wonder I was like really kind of diving into the space of safety at work and um and
Totally.
this like, you know, and this passion and this love for people. I've always had that, working on coming from where working on crews, here, like even I did landscaping and flooring and house painting and things like that before I went into the theater. Um, and uh, and and so when I went into the theater, I was like a builder, and now I'm coming back into it because a lot of where I'm living now is in the construction world, which I love, and also um, m- with young new theater people who are the behind the scenes people, technicians, right? And so now I'm like, oh, I'm in the earth, right? Where I'm so like regulated in my mind, body, and gut also because the way we live is very simple. It's farm to table. We're members of the co-op. We volunteer there. We go to the farmer's market every weekend. We have the best fruit and veggies in the United States.
Yum.
I'll, I'll, I'll fight anyone.
Yum.
But just like going, oh, it's not just about safety, it's about the way things work,
Mm.
the way we work.
Mm-hmm. Systems to keep the safety intact and vice versa. Safety in the systems too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just to even be an advocate, to be a person that says, hey, because I think when you're young, you know, things came up in our session when I was a minor, um, you know, and in your 20s and you're out in the world and you're so vulnerable. Uh, and you're gaslit so often by
Mm-hmm.
toxic employers, people around you. Like, am I
Mm-hmm.
really experiencing this, or it's not that big of a deal? But these things are, and they
Mm-hmm.
cause issues.
Yeah, I'm having the visual of a crack in the foundation. So if the crack is the trauma and it's not sealed up, then over time the water or the weakening of external factors of life stuff, of people just being people, people with their own traumas, projecting their own pains and wounds onto people, then you become easy prey for foundational issues. And I've known of significant events that have happened in your life later in life, like in your 20s and early 30s. And none of that came up in the session. What was interesting to me is what came up in the session is where it all started, where the initial cracks in the foundation started. And then understanding, I mean, just because I know, but understanding, these events, these really big events that happened in your 20s are like that. It's the same issue. It's the same thing. It's coming from the same root. It's just times 10 because it doesn't go away. It doesn't stay small. It grows and it festers. I'm so curious, T, if the work that we did around safety and that you continue to do wasn't just in our session. It's your dedication, your commitment to continuing with the audio, to continue taking care of yourself, like really stepping into who you're becoming. Which I'll also say is it's not a doing, it's an undoing. You are all of these amazing things. You have always been them. And also there's been that little box that you were talking about living in was to keep yourself safe, until all of a sudden you're like, this doesn't make sense. This isn't keeping me safe. We have to find another way. So it's an undoing of that box. It's an undoing of all of the ways that you learn to be to keep yourself safe in order to become who you truly are and meant to be. And that version of you can't be gaslit. That version of you cannot be victim to a predator of any sorts, whether it be in the workplace or at the grocery store, etc. Even in a romantic sense. It's taking the power back. I mean, we haven't talked about it so directly, but indirect, talking about your voice, just your acknowledgement of years of running and figuring it out. And then that moment where you pivoted out of LA and over to the mountains in California of saying like, I'm taking command of my life in a different way. I'm choosing to live differently. And you're still doing this daily before you came to me. And even still like that inner voice of self-guidance, of clarity of like, yes to this, no to this, not to that today. That's a little too much. Which brings me back to those big issues or those big situations that happened in your later 20s. When you came to me in hypnotherapy, there was a part of your body that was like, nope, not today. That's too sensitive today. Yeah. That's too much to go there. But what I do feel ready to explore, because there's enough time, there's enough distance, and there's enough internal infrastructure to be able to hold revisiting that memory, which they were intense.
Yes.
That eruption of laughter that came up and through, and you had you had shared with me that you were crying at one point in the session. I couldn't see your tears. You cried like a Disney princess, like your face didn't move. It was just tears.
Right.
Right. So I'm saying so many things, but when you feel safe in the body to go there, the strength of your voice through all these things, knowing when to leave law school, when to explore law school, do you leave the safety company? Do you stay? Do you expand it? Oh, let's go back into construction. Oh, all of a sudden you're back on film sets. Like your inner Teresa is guiding little Teresa, is guiding elder Teresa as well in so many beautiful ways. I'm consistently inspired by you and how you conduct yourself as human, as mom, as CEO, even as client. There's one of the scenes that we went into was so dark, and you used the word disgusting. It was interesting. I almost felt like I could see it without you saying anything, and you barely said anything. We really just focused on the sensation and the feeling, which is the whole point, is to release the feeling. And then reassure that part of you that it's safe. Like I took you into the meditation of a warm bath with flowers. And then to identify the belief inside of all of that so we could shift that. So all of that to ask you, what is the last few weeks felt like for you? What has that shift felt like? How is it? And where in your voice do you feel things have transformed
So it's so funny now. It's like, actually, I feel it's in my voice, but I actually feel it in my impulses. So that electric feeling that I started to experience in the session, well, in the session, I don't, I kept saying, you would ask me, what is this feeling like? I don't know. And I could say, I
Hmm.
couldn't figure it out. I don't know, because I've
I don't
been
know, or
so
you said it was numb.
numb. Yeah. I've been so disconnected from my body. Because due to the amount of um, just vicious, viciousness it has experienced. And now I notice when I say, I don't know, like, do I really not know? Or what am I? And I'm like, let me listen to myself. Let me listen to my body, and I can start
Mm.
to. And so even when I meditate, this sensation comes.
The electricity?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Um,
Um, just two things really quick. So, uh, a helpful anecdote to I don't knows is say I don't know, and then ask yourself, well, if I did know, what would the answer be? That's another way
mm,
of working with
ooh,
your inner voice and your intuition and those impulses is your intuition coming back on, and our intuition lives in the body, that gut feeling, right? That's in the stomach, in the belly, in the solar plexus. That electricity, the second thing I wanted to share is that electricity is sensation coming back online, is all the I don't knows and the numbness is finding the nose. and also the numbness becoming sensation again,
yeah.
returning. It's really amazing. So when you're meditating now and that electricity is coming back in, it's almost like your nervous system is picking right back up where you left off. It's coming back online. And how many decades were you turned off, and that was a
Right.
safety mechanism for so long. So it might
30.
not be
Yeah.
right. Right. It's not going to be overnight, but the more that you put your hands in the dirt, the more that you sit down and you meditate, it's again, the undoing, peeling back the layers to bring everything back in, and constantly telling yourself, I am safe. I'm okay now. I am away from danger. And I know I'm big enough and smart enough and wise enough to protect myself from danger.
Yes. Yes. And, yes, and like, I just walk around with this a deep sense of safety. I'm like, I just walk into any space. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm good. Like, even if there's an adversary or whatever, I'm like not tripping. I'm like, cool. I'm not. And then there's another impulse that I have, and it's in the meditation. And I realized I was like, maybe there's, every day, one day of self care. There's that I listen to it, but I don't know what Alicia. I just I feel it, and I have the impulse, and I do it. And do an act of self-care, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is. I'm like,
Mm.
I'm just going to push everything aside, and I am jumping in the tub. And I'm like, what?
Something that was very strong for you from that session was, and is part of how I've been trained to work as well, is what do you need right now, right? What do you
Mm,
need right now? And especially when it's coming to just a base need of safety, which usually is tethered to nurturing or nourishment. A really great medicinal question is, what do I need right now? And you had shared with me when I followed up with you, a couple days after the session, that was something that you kept coming back to. That is hand in hand with self care, and it's also signaling to the nervous system, like, no, I got you more than ever, and whatever that was back then, that's not how it is now. Like, I will not abandon you. I will make sure that there's time that we sit down and relax the nervous system and breathe, or one of your safe spaces is the bathtub. So to make sure that that we get that in, because if I don't have that, then how can I do all of these other things? If I don't eat today, then how will I have the energy to show up for everyone else? And the eating is a very literal example of emotional food, emotional nourishment, which is, of course, through these self-care practices. Yummy.
Right, right. Because when you're on the run and when you're, not dealing with some, these things, when you've got that kind of anxious whatever going on in your life, treat your body so badly.
Mm.
You're beating it up, right, with what you're ingesting.
Whether that be food or friends or content online or even our thoughts, right?
Anything. Yeah.
But it's all coming back from the initial crack in the foundation, which is, we learn. That's why I focus so much on the belief. Like, what did you believe in this moment of trauma? So did you believe, and I'm just grabbing an example, not that it was specific to you, but did you believe in this moment that you needed to abandon yourself in order to feel safe? You needed to abandon, like, what you needed didn't matter, so that everyone else in the room could feel comfortable. This is probably more common with people that procrastinate or even people please, or have a hard time saying no to, which is a form of people pleasing, to doing. But once you start to come back to like, wait, I can feel like a spacation inside all the time just by holding the inner child in the moment where the initial wound started. And then from every day forward, just making that the priority. Part of your new metronome of just stop, drop, and self-care is from the meditation. We are rewiring your subconscious mind to do that, but it doesn't work because I'm telling you to. It works because you want to. It's, this is where hypnosis and the suggestibility factor, are in tandem. You take a suggestion because you want to do it, and you want to do it because it feels good. It's, like a plant is going to turn toward the sun, not turn away from it, because it feels good. It knows like that's where a place of growth is. That's where we're innately wired.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Right. Right. It does take this time, right? And these words, like the way that we are programming, right? The 30-minute meditation is not necessarily just a nap, for 30 minutes. You're reprogramming your thoughts, and then all of a sudden you do that. Like I did not fully believe that there was another side to trauma.
What do you
Like
mean by that?
I knew that there was light at the end of the tunnel emotionally. It can make you feel like you're just stuck. You'll never get out. Quicksand, right? Like, you form habits that are unhealthy. You form relationships that are unhealthy. You form, and these triggers keep arising, right? When you're in trauma brain. And that's why that, processing that and going to therapy and, EMDR, right? It's all super important to do. And especially when you have like CPTSD, things like that. But I've been going to therapy for 10 years.
Wow.
10 years, yeah. And that's kind of why I'm renaming my company Alchemy Works, is just the alchemy of what we can do to generate change is so simple in our minds. We don't need fancy tools, this, that, the other, right? It's the simple alchemy, the shift, right, of what you're building, one on
What
top
you've
of the
been
other.
through, what you've experienced, into making actionable, structured plans from that experience that can create change in your pocket.
Yeah, and that spotcation is legit. I'm like, oh, I mean, there are things that, I mean, I don't necessarily feel light and positive and happy. I actually think that it's made me stronger, a stronger parent. I feel like, um, no, I know exactly. Like I have the sort of forward
Peaceful,
sense of self
solid.
grounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've said it a few times in different ways, but it's really feeling safe to trust yourself. And in those even to the point of like I can trust that if I need something that I can advocate to myself and get that, whether that's taking a breath right now or going and getting a snack or stepping outside and just taking a moment or canceling my plans today, just being with baby. But you said, of course, that's also going to play into your strength. Like the strength isn't outside of you, the strength is you. When people come to me and
Yeah.
they're like, I want to be more confident. It's like, okay, the work isn't actually gaining confidence. It's releasing self-doubt. It's releasing confusion, wiping clean the lens of distortion that you aren't confident in it. What is that blurred lens like? So, your strength has been there, no doubt, has grown with your experiences, and that's where the alchemy comes in. It's like these things that happen to us. Who do we choose to become because of and in spite of that? Which feels like way more of the point is that process. So in terms of, as you said, like being a better parent, like you use the word strength, but what else can you identify specifically that you're feeling like you're showing up differently for sweet baby girl?
Service. I've
Mm.
always been in service of her, I feel, but and that was the another kind of like aspect to this, we're in a new phase of life. She's going to be 3, and now it's time for her to take on more responsibility. Actually, originally I thought, I was going to send her to school, but, I'm just not feeling good about that. And I'm like, you know what? She doesn't need that traditional experience in that way because I think she's getting so much valuable education from accompanying me. We have
Yes.
our, um, uh, instead of dropping her off where I'm not going to see her all day, now I feel the service I'm leaning into. You know what? We're going to build our structure. That's why we started volunteering at the co-op because of her. She works there. It's run by mothers. Okay. So also they use it to help their children understand how to work, how to run a business. And you understand the collective experience. We're going to do horseback riding. There's Sundays at the art gallery. They do a craft in town. So now we're getting ready to build this dedicated life where we're going everywhere together.
It's
And
beautiful.
I
Like you're
also,
building the human
yes,
first.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And even with me, like, okay, this is our life. This is just what it is. And I still have to run a business. And I feel very clear. I'm like, it's not stressing me out now.
I feel that from you. I really feel that from you. I'm so excited what you'll attract in terms of education for her. I mean, you're already doing it, and also wouldn't be surprised if you call me in a few weeks and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to make the curriculum.
I talked to a venue about doing a school. Oh my God.
Case in point, and you're like, and I could do the safety for it, and I have all the construction contacts, and I can help you with the legals, and I have your first student. You're such a baddie. I love it. No doubt pauses and really incredible hands. And, I know it's symbiotic, right? Like she's also super blessed to have you as her mama. And it's been so beautiful to watch both of you grow together in each phase. And I can't believe she's talking so much now. Her little voice makes parts of my heart melt that I didn't know existed.
I know.
Um, and undoubtedly, like, we even put this in your personalized meditation, right? Is really becoming the more that you feel safe within you, the more that you cultivate that experience for other people that are just in your midst, in your presence. And then the magnet that you become, not only your safety company, but you as a mother. So that pause feels like really safe with you. And as she grows and goes out into the world, it's all one and the same, it's all comes from the same core, and it touches on all of these different pillars. It's all the same. It takes different form in many ways. Um, is there anything from your experience with hypnotherapy or any of the topics that we've opened up in this conversation that you haven't talked about that feels like, oh my gosh, and this, or this surprised me, or I can't stop thinking about this thing?
Oh man. Let's see. I've been laughing at the impulses, like my just oh, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so just I guess how open I feel, just the way that I'm speaking, the way that I'm more directly communicating, the way that I'm like, "Oh, I'm just gonna get in the car and take care of my business. I'm not fussing."
Yeah. There's no distraction, or it just feels like a little bit more of a direct line, better use of your energy.
I prune my trees, like the big ones. I mean, like these fucking big ones.
That tree just winked at me, like for sure. That tree was like, I've been on camera this whole time. Thank you for finally acknowledging me. I better be in the show notes. I will put also guest appearance from Teresa's big fucking tree.
Oh,
Hug him
yes.
later. Or her, pardon me.
Probably right. I know this one. Yeah. No, we've been and no, and just even making like stronger connections with people.
Mm.
Actually I had an issue kind of like even with direct communication, the voice, because, part of my trauma was around my neck and
Oh, right.
things that happened with that.
Mm.
So, I've been really like working on, okay, even just opening up. So I started singing again and
Yeah.
performing. And now I'm like so confident in it. I'm like, cool, like this is my voice.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Let me just say what I want.
Oh. It's a really beautiful way to signal safety to the body as well when we sing. So you hit that vagus nerve, so it's like tickling all of your major organs and reminding them like of delight and joy, and uh, kind of like I mean, it's hitting sound vibration, so it's like all of your cells are getting like a like feels really good, like a massage chair. That's what it feels like to us on a
Yes.
cellular level from just using the voice in a therapeutic way, in a way that calms and soothes. It's been really, really cool to watch you engage with your instruments, and then also the instrument of your voice, and watch how that's really opened up your life as well. Ironically, or not ironic, beautifully, uh, we've been paralleled in that sense, especially this year. I feel like over the winter, we were really sitting with our singing voices in a different way. And around the same time, like the same time that your show was at the end of February, I was also having some breakthroughs in my voice. And then was also working with themes of safety within myself in April. So it's been really beautiful to be our ships being so aligned. And
Yes.
yeah, no coincidences there that we've been exploring those things, and then it brings us exactly to this conversation together. So cool.
My
I love it.
God. And I was actually just gonna say too, like the day of the release was the Scorpio new moon.
That's right. I love scheduling sessions in accordance with astrology. There's something extra cosmically powerful that happens with that. That was unintentional, but really good.
It was so delightful. And I like got up out of that session and I was like sick. Like I was like 2 inches taller.
Yes. Like 10 to 15 pounds lighter, as if you were glowing in a piercing way. Yes. I feel like you just kind of floated away.
I started writing lyrics. They just started coming out of me. Like
Yes.
I haven't
What?
been writing. Yes, yes. So, my friend came over and, he's like, we're doing an album together. And I was like, and see, my inner child is so happy. She's like, oh, we get to be whimsical. Like, we get to do all the things that we love to do with our friends and like really enjoy it. And
Yes.
also, like, not be connected to the harshness of what is adulting. And like, even
Freaking
that's like
beautiful.
coming so easily, nicely.
I'm realizing
Um,
that it wasn't just safety. It wasn't just safety in the body. It was safety in the body to safe to be yourself,
mm,
your true self, to allow all of that to, safety in the body, or, to just be in this intelligent, beautiful, sexy, by the way, vessel that you have to do all of the things, to fairy, to garden, to make music, to make babies, to, well, maybe baby.
no, but even like, even making my baby was a special,
Sure, sure.
experience, not necessarily, but just, with even being healed enough in my body with PCOS, cervical, pre-cancer, having pieces of my cervix, like that was wild. And now we're on another level.
Yes, 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 totally. Oh man, I mean, the body is just so incredible, so, so strong and resilient, yet so fragile at the same time. I have this image of the mythical creature that you chop its head off and like 10 more come back. And that's maybe more in like a negative connotation, but the body kind of feels that way in a sense where you just kind of keep coming back. Like you amputate one limb and it figures out how to do it and make way and grow 10 more and figure it out and make a safety company from the pain that you've been in, and make a baby even though your body is, reproductively not well, or in harmony with the rest of you. I'm so curious to see if your reproductive health right now really just takes a 180 the more that you
I
continue
know.
to mantra safety to the body. Yeah.
I hope so, because the last time I went, and this is, one of the reasons also why I do like, our BBGG stuff, like the cleanse experience is,
Hmm.
it's nourishing, right? The full body. And then the more you do it, the more you live that way, the more you're
Yes.
programming, right? Like, I'm like, yes, like I've just come so much deeper into it, but,
The gateway.
you
I
know,
was so glad you brought up TC because I was thinking of it before and I'm like, we don't need
yes.
to go down, but maybe we do. So twice a year, I co-host a group cleanse experience with our mutual dear friend, amazing, incredible. I don't even have all the adjectives for her. Anahita. She's a functional medicine coach, but she's created this 10-day detox using plants as medicine. And
Yes.
Teresa and I have done it individually many times. Well, I've done it individually many times. And then I know that's actually how Teresa got pregnant. She did the
Very
detox.
sober.
Yeah, very sober. She started to create a very fertile environment in there. And her body was like, oh, yes. Hello, swimmer. And then boom, pause. So we can't explicitly say that the detox will get you pregnant, especially if you're a man. But we do give warning that that is a possibility. And you're not the only one, Teresa. My cousin just gave birth. She was in one of your group.
My God, really?
Yeah, she came into the group. Her intention was like, we were trying to get pregnant again. And then
My
three
God.
months, 3 months after the detox, she got pregnant. She came back to me and she's like, do you think it was the cleanse? And I was like, I can't explicitly say yes. However,
Amazing.
you're balancing your hormones, you're getting better sleep, you're creating a really fertile environment so that swimmers want to swim. So yeah, maybe very possible, but either way it happens, so celebrating. Anyway, so I'm glad you brought it up because it's that was sort of the gateway into safety in your body, and it's been so
Yes.
beautiful to watch you all these years now. You did the group cleanse experience at least twice, maybe 3 times, 4?
With the group, I think
Yeah,
I've done it 3 now.
I think
Yeah.
3 as well. But each time you do it, how like it feels easier.
Yeah.
Um, you go a little deeper, and then you come out of it feeling like, oh, this is just how we eat now. Like, just as a
Yes.
baseline, even how your cooking has changed, even what your baby is asking for. I noticed that, like, she's like on calls. I feel like she's always been pretty good about fruits and things like that. But not all toddlers are coming up asking mom for a bowl of strawberries.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Somebody came up to me in a restaurant and goes, "How do you get your baby to eat asparagus?" I'm like, "I don't know, she's always eaten it.
yeah.
She just always has. I don't know."
Well, and part of that is what you introduce her to, what she sees you
Yeah.
eating is huge, and also what options you give are available to her. And something else I notice about your parenting too is like there's there's times when you say yes, and then there's times when you say not yet. You know, for instance, if she wants a popsicle, it's like, okay, well, why don't we eat all of these things first? And then we can eat the popsicle. So whether she understands it or not, she's learning an order of food to before we consume the sugar, and then there's kind of this give
Yes.
and take. So she's not really seeing foods right now as like good or bad as much as she's just understanding like, oh, I do these things and then I get this other thing and I'm still getting what I want and I'm making mom happy because mom's getting what she wants. There's this sort of energetic conversation that's happening.
Yeah, and she's taking more responsibility for it too. Like, she's going to be 3, and she's getting up and going, "Hey, mom, can I help you with the dishes?" And so she brings her little stool over, and she's got her apron and her gloves, and she's, like, scrubbing away, and she, like, has so much fun in this, and, "Oh, can I cook?" And she's taking part of it, and she's learning all the names of the fruits, and vegetables at the co-op too. Like, "Oh, this is how we handle." Now we're learning, like, all the little like, being gentle, like, w I let her sharpen her own pencils too.
Adorable.
She know sharps. She's learning sharps and scissors and learning all the little dangerous things, but responsible. She's responsible.
I mean, what more would they be doing in kindergarten? You know, maybe adding an adjective. So instead of it being apple, it's red apple or 2
Yeah.
orange carrots. But she's learning all of the things. Did you notice a shift in her taking more responsibility from your work at the co-op and volunteering?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Although, it's that, but also it's the time that we spend together that is so precious. She loves to be helpful. She loves to unload the washer. Like, she likes, she gets so much joy out of being a part of what's
Yeah.
happening. And, she gets a lot of social from a multi-generational social,
Hmm.
and it is the time because it's just us. It's just her and I.
Hmm. Hmm.
And mama's got things to do, so she's kind of on my program. My program just happens to include her. It
Totally.
happens. Some people don't include their children like that. I do. She loves it. She's
Wow,
learning so
it's
much.
making me think of alchemy works again, which is like, how do we take all of these things and integrate it and combine it? How do
Ration.
we, yeah, exactly. It's not like keeping it separate, like 9 to 5, we do this and then we go to daycare. Of course, this is, um, if you have a 9 to 5, you have to do what you need to do in order to keep your own systems in place, understandably so, and with acknowledgement that it's not always
Yeah.
Not everyone has the opportunity to integrate all the systems at once. But yeah, why can't she be a part of more things instead of, no, this is time to work? And I mean, I'm sure you do have like, okay, it's time to sit down and do this thing. And this is the other day you said this is mommy's phone call, but she was on the call with us.
Yeah.
But there's even compartmentalization within the system. So freedom and structure is another way of saying it. So mommy's on a call, and also you can sit right here with me. It's not like, no
Yes.
kids allowed. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And if it is, then, I have to set up the system. That's my responsibility as the parent of, because, we don't have like a daycare here. There's kind of daycares. It's rural. It's like we don't have access to, it's not as available as like when you're in more of a metropolitan area. So I've really had to, by my circumstance, make do in this way, but also, who am I trusting around my child?
Yeah.
Like that as a parent,
Huge.
and
Huge.
like if I see the slightest like thing, I'm like, you know what? No, we're cultivating safety with our boundaries also. Going, you know what? This is the way we do things. This is the way we're living our life. With these values, with these, I love the people at the co-op. That's fantastic. It's so, and I'm right there with her.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is
Mm-hmm.
teaching her.
Yes.
It's a group teach, right?
It takes a village. And it's also pack mentality, right? Like if she sees other kids her age and her size doing things and being guided in a way that is aligned with your own core values and how you'd like to raise her, then she'll step up to that, right? Especially that
Yeah.
she's an only child, to have that mirrored to her. I do feel like is where I've seen a lot of her growth in the last few months as well, just from the little
Yeah.
glimpses that I see. I can say a little bit better now, so, and just to kind of loop it back, but just because I have better words for it, it's like, even if you have a 9 to 5, it's not even about that as much as like, if you're home cooking dinner, it's not like, go away and leave me alone. It's like, yeah, why, how we laughed earlier when we said yes, to Anne, because we understand the joke that it is as actors. I actually explained in episode 4 of the podcast that as yes and is an improv rule that when someone presents you with a question or an idea, that you don't say no or turn it down, you say yes and. So if pause comes up and she wants to help, even if her help would be getting in the way, well, what job can you give that yes, which is positive reinforcement, so that she feels like she's helping, and also so that she's not in the way, which is where like parent creating the system to come in and keep
Yes.
the child safe. Maybe it's not okay for you to use a knife, but maybe I could give you a plastic knife and you can be cutting up a banana, or maybe you can put napkins on the table, or, go pick this thing up so that that area is clear. So there's, this sensation of connection, this sensation of being a part of the thing, but that's age appropriate, and not that it all really boils down to connection. How can we connect and feel together doing the thing together, even if it's not exactly the way that we want to be doing it, but in some way that it's a part of the thing that we want to do.
Exactly, right, right, yes, yes, and it works so nicely because, the focus, she comes in, she's, like, happy, she's next to mommy, she's helping, she's a part of it, she's engaged in an activity. I mean, the dishes are so great because, I give her the soap bottle and she's squeezing the soap bottle, so she's working on these.
Sensorial, tactical. Yeah.
She's got the sponge, she's scrubbing, and she's rinsing, and we have a farmer sink, so it's not like she can turn the water on herself by squeezing the top. So she's working on all of these little skills, and I kind of have a little Montessori type of style. Um, I just let her focus, and then I'm like, cool, I have like a nice quiet, 20, 30 minutes. She has a really good focus. Like we can go a long time and in our own sort of worlds together.
So beautiful. So beautiful. One of my favorite mommy-daughter duos in my life. And um, I mean, truly T, like watching you raise paws has absolutely helped me to show up in my life differently as well and, reparent myself in ways. And it's been very healing. And mind you, you've given me another little, I don't know, surrogatory niece. you know, I really feel I feel a responsibility to her in a sense, like if she ever needed anything as she's growing up, like just to be a part of that is such a gift. It's just all very, very special. So yeah, thank you for how you're raising her and how you've I don't want to say sacrificed your life. I don't feel like you've done that, but that pivoting is really in that vibration of I'm in service to this little being. It's not just about me anymore. And neither of us have to suffer in that pivot. How can we make it fun and magical? And no doubt the part of you that makes a lot of something out of nothing is uh echoed in your relationship with her and her own development to a little human.
Thanks.
Yeah. So psyched to see her grow up. And I can't believe she's 3.
I
Holy moly.
know. I
The
know.
complete sentences freak me out because I'm like, oh, you have thoughts. You have thoughts that are not just base needs now. That is,
Right. Now she's got an agenda. Like, I mean, she's always had her agenda, but like now she's very argumentative about it. I wouldn't, she's making her case.
maybe she'll finish law school for you. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Mm.
Right. Right.
Is there anything else before we kind of taper off here? Is there anything else from again, this conversation or our hypno session or anything else on your heart that feels relevant or important to share?
I am just so grateful I got to experience hypnotherapy with you.
Same. Thank you.
Thank
Truly.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Beautiful. Well, I can't wait to see where you grow next.